Hey guys, and welcome to another Cultured Boys episode. I'm Pepe and I'm joined by Nathan, and today we're talking about The Boy and the Heron.
Hey.
Yes, it is the first time me and Nathan have ever spoken about a Studio Ghibli film on our channel. Like, at least done a whole episode about it.
Yes.
And it feels quite weird because we're like about 200 episodes in or whatever it might be. like, like 200 videos in. That's what it is. That's where I'm getting the 200 from. And we've never actually spoken about a Ghibli film on this channel. So we're going to be talking about. How are you, Nathan?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yeah, the thought is kind of crazy how we've gotten this far. We've mentioned various Ghibli films just in passing, but to do like a dedicated episode to one, like I'm actually kind of surprised that we haven't done this before.
Yeah, I guess because like we've seen a bunch from before, but like there's certain ones that we were like, do we need to do a whole episode on this? And the thing is, The Boy and the Heron dropped on Netflix quite recently. It's
Yes.
the most recent Ghibli film as well. Came out last year, right?
Yeah. It's July 14th, 2023,
Mm.
so
But I remember it being in cinemas in I think it was UK in the UK in December last year. So I think
yeah.
I actually made plans with people to be like, oh, maybe we'll watch Boy and the Heron, just never got around to it. and then but it's here now a year later, and we're gonna discuss it today.
Yeah, yeah.
Nathan, do you want to give a rundown of what The Boy and the Heron is?
Yes. So, The Boy and the Heron, or Kimitachi wa do ikuru ka, written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki, another of his supposed last films, we shall see. Produced, obviously, by Studio Ghibli, released July 14th, 2023, as previously stated, runtime of 124 minutes. After his mother's death, young Mahito moves to her hometown, where a mysterious heron leads him into a fantastic realm shared by the living and dead. Thank you, Netflix.
Hey, Netflix. Just a FYI now, we are gonna be talking spoilers in this for sure.
Yeah.
But I'd also like to know, Nathan, which version did you watch? Did you watch the sub or the dub of this?
I watched the dub because I am currently very busy.
Well, I watched the dub as well, but I watched it because I heard what the casting was for this, and I was like,
Yeah, this is a
okay, this
nutso
is
cast.
yeah,
Like,
like, and because you've got Robert Patterson in this as
as the
the
heron.
Heron, which is arguably because I've seen a few videos online about it,
Mhm.
and everyone was like losing their mind at Robert Patterson doing this voice, and you are taken quite aback when you first
Oh,
hear it
yeah,
as well.
for
You
sure.
think,
Like,
wait, that voice is coming out of that man? Are you
yeah.
serious?
Like, because you think, standard now is like Robert Pattinson, Twilight, now Batman, but
Yeah.
you're like, that, what? This does not sound anything like him, like, at all.
Nah. It is absolutely nuts, and like you, you think, oh, that's a bit strange, like because we've always like seen like, for example, Christian Bale's in this as
Yes.
Soichi Maki, which is
Mahito's dad.
Mahito's dad, and Christian Bale's been in like previous Ghibli films before. He's been in, I think it's like, isn't he the voice of Howl in Howl's Moving Castle or something like that?
I don't know, I've
He's
only ever watched the sub for that one.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But I'm sure he's actually done a Ghibli film before. But then you even got people like Mark Hamill and Willem Dafoe and Dave Bautista,
Yeah,
Florence Pugh,
Florence Pugh,
like,
yeah, like,
like,
there are really big names in this, and you're like, "Huh? What?"
it's like it's huge, and like I think it kind of just speaks to right now that like one anime is becoming more prevalent in like the West anyway, and not just anime. Studio Ghibli is like a massive entity
Oh,
in
yeah.
itself, and so to have all these names like as the voice cast is absolutely like insane to have. But it's cool to see. It's really cool to see though.
Honestly, it's, like, flabbergasting because I'm sure all of these names are familiar with with the medium and, they've probably voiced stuff in various forms.
Hmm.
And like you said, Studio Ghibli is just like that well known and established, even in the West. That I'm sure if your agent comes up and it's like, "Yo, Studio Ghibli film, you got the chance to voice." I'm sure a lot of people probably aren't turning it down, but it is just sort of like
Yeah, yeah.
there are very few names in the cast list that I'm like, who? And not in a bad way, I'm just like
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with their works, but yeah, this is star-studded cast, man, and this is just
Yes,
for
he
the dub.
is. I mean, even then, fucking Willem Dafoe, he voices the Noble Pelican, but man's only got a really small part in this, though. He's
Yeah, but
only
that's
really
like
there for like.
that's like Mark Hamill as the grand uncle.
I mean,
He's
Grand
also
Uncle is yeah, yeah,
he's
yeah,
also
yeah.
barely in it, you know?
It's true, yeah. But like it, regardless of like, obviously, is like very established people which have like,
Yeah.
I mean, arguably, like you got like a whole bunch of like different people like with varying times of screen time, but that's just a voice cast in itself. The whole story as a whole is again what we're here to speak about as well.
Yeah, okay, so what did you think?
I thought, okay, so for me, this was a bit of a slow start.
Mhm,
I immediately didn't know what to think of Mahito as a character either. I was
mhm.
kind of just like a bit like, okay, he's just a bit of a like plain slate right now. There's not much going on here. I think it's only until they went into the other world, which I felt the film really started to pick up, and it was like, oh, okay, this is quite cool
Same.
to see. And I mean, that's what, like, in my opinion, what Miyazaki does best at times. It's like
Yeah.
creating this world and like all different concepts of it, like all different creatures, like the world. And arguably, what I love best about it as well is the art in it. Like that's one thing. Every frame looks like a masterpiece. It literally looks like it should be in a gallery somewhere. And even like at times when I was watching the film, I was like, "Geez, that looks pretty freaking good." It would just be a random scene, and I just take the time to look at the background. I was like, the amount of work that's gone into that is insane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? What did you think of it?
I don't know what to think, if I'm honest.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
it's a fine film, I guess. Art's
Mhm.
always amazing, but I mean, Ghibli's known for, you know,
Yeah.
they're known for that style. My only thing is, like, I've watched a lot of Ghibli films, and normally I can surmise or I'll eventually get what the message of the film is. But this one, I was just kind of like, I don't get it. I genuinely have no idea what I'm supposed to be understanding or learning in this one.
I I feel like for this, I'm gonna put it this way, right? In terms of film, like in
Hmm.
terms of films, I think this is a very good film. But in terms of Ghibli films, I feel like this is very middle. Like it's not like my favorite Ghibli film, and it's not my least favorite. It's
Yeah.
just there, like bang in the middle. It's just very like, yeah, as a Ghibli film, it's okay. As a normal film, I think it's actually like quite cool as a film. Like that
Yeah.
that just shows how much I how high I rank like other Ghibli films. Let's put it that
Yeah, but like
way.
I kind of understand that though because like
Hmm.
obviously whatever your first film is probably one of the higher rated ones, right? So for a lot of us that'd be Spirited Away, but like Spirited
Yeah.
Away is like learning about like modesty
Hmm.
and acceptance of other ways of thinking and stuff, and like
Hmm.
accepting different people.
Hmm.
And then there's some where, you know, like in Grave of the Fireflies, it's just sad. It's very sad, and that's my
It's
favorite
just sad,
one.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, that's also learning about hardship and perseverance.
Mhm.
And I'm with this one, I'm kind of like, I mean, is this one also about grief and acceptance? Like, is that what I'm supposed to be learning? But then I'm like, did he really learn that? I don't think I don't know, but I guess he did towards the end maybe, but
I
like,
think
you know
that's
what I
where
mean?
it
Like,
comes from, yeah. Because it's hard to like track where it comes from when, like we said before, that Mahito is quite a plain slate of a character when you first see him. Like, obviously, he's gone through stuff with his mum passing when the hospital's
Yeah.
on fire and stuff like that. And then, like, for a good portion of the film, like at the start, anyway, before they go into the other world, it is like he isn't really like he just is just plodding along, just going about it, and then obviously he's still got a bit of trauma from that. Like he's still reliving the memories of his mum passing, and even then, like the heron, the grey heron, give like kind of promises him a little bit, like, yeah, your mum's still alive. You can come see her at the start. So maybe it is a story of grief. Maybe it is that's what it is, and it's processing that, and maybe like, because obviously, what was it? It's Newmarket. What's his, can't remember what the lady's called now. The lady.
Natsuko.
Natsuko, that's it, yeah. Like, it's kind of accepting that maybe, like, and moving on and accepting grief, but,
But,
like, it's
like,
also like
he the thing is, like, I don't know if it's out of respect or not, but he calls her mother
mm,
quite quickly. Like, he's quite quick to call her, like,
yeah.
his mum. But, like, the only reason I'm thinking, is it actually about acceptance and moving on? Because, they're like, "Oh," a granduncle's like, "I want you to be my successor. You need to make your stack
Mhm,
now because I can't keep it going." But
mhm.
then Mahito's, like, makes a decision and doesn't end up,
Yeah.
like, taking over. So, like, that's why I'm kinda like, is that really the message? Because he's now made the choice, and then at the end of the film, it
Mm.
seems like he's I don't know, I feel like it's not as, like, clear as
No,
some
I
of the other
agree.
films.
I 100% like, it doesn't really spell it out for you as much. It's but even when you said, like, about messages and stuff like that, I immediately started thinking, "Wait, what is the message here?" Because I was like, I always see a lot of Ghibli films as I love the adventure of it and stuff like that.
Mm,
Like, my immediate thing is I like to see where this world takes us and stuff like that. I wanna see all that kind of thing.
yeah.
So for me, like, I I do think that just maybe a different pace, maybe there is just something that, like, maybe there is a message behind it and we just, like, haven't seen it, and I'm sure people will sound off in the comments about that as
The
well.
only reason I put in so much importance on it is because, like, Miyazaki always has some sort of reason or meaning behind
Mhm,
doing a specific works,
mhm.
So that's the only reason I'm kinda like, "Okay, so, like, what's the crack here?" You know? I genuinely have no idea.
Mm. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you that much either. Even the way it ends or whatever, it's just like it's like you said, he's like, "No, I'm not gonna take it on," and then world crumbles apart, and then Bahito
Yeah,
and
well,
the rest of the
like,
family just move on, like
that's also kind of a confusing thing because, like, the heron is like, "Hey, forget where you came from, where you just came from."
Yeah,
Most
yeah,
people forget. And then he says bye and disappears, and then, like, Mahito is looking for him, but then from my interpretation, it's also kinda like, "Was the heron ever there? Did I go crazy?" Like,
yeah, it all just spurts off from when he started hitting his head with the rock. That's it's all actually just like
I
it's all
mean,
spurred on from that. That's what
that
it
was
is.
a that was a pretty that's a pretty deep scar, like, kid hit
Yeah.
himself with a pretty sharp rock. I can't say I'd have the wherewithal and the gumption to just smash my head with a fucking rock.
The way he just carries on as well, like he just
Oh,
smashes.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm
that
walking
too,
home now.
like, he just
Yeah.
keeps walking like he didn't just bleed out from bashing his head on a rock.
Yeah. I'd be too much of a pussy, bro. I'd be like,
Well, yeah, exactly, same.
I'd be there like,
I
yeah.
would have done it, but
I'd chicken out so
even if I
big.
went through with it, I probably wouldn't have gotten up and just been like, "Yep, that's cool, going home now."
Maybe that's how much grief he's feeling. Maybe that is like how deep that shit is. Maybe that's part of what we're missing here. Like he's so like deep inside the grief that he's willing to just smash his head and then not care about the consequences of it. Like
Maybe. I
maybe
don't
that
know.
maybe yeah, maybe it's even like grief is deeper than we thought. I mean, if you willing to smash your head with a rock because of grief, that's a
I don't know.
mm,
There's just so much about this film that I'm like, I like I liked it,
mhm.
but I actually
Yeah.
watched this film twice because the first time I was
Oh,
like, I didn't
really?
get it. So I watched it a
Oh,
second time
okay,
to
yeah.
be like, okay, maybe this time I'll understand. I still didn't get it.
Mm, okay. You watch it both in dub as well then?
Yeah. Just to make sure like just to really make
You
sure
yeah, yeah.
I was like trying to understand everything. I still
Mm.
two watches and I still didn't get it really. Like I still there's so many parts that I'm just kind of like, okay, but why?
Which bits are you thinking there?
Well, like
That
for
is only
another one that stands out mostly that confuses me is
mhm.
like Natsuko goes to this other world to give birth specifically, and everyone's like, "You went into the birthing room. That's forbidden."
Yeah.
But like this whole time as well, Natsuko has like been real nice to him. She's like, "I want,
Mhm.
like I'm your mom now." And he's even there like, "Mother, let's go."
Mhm.
Okay, he starts like, "Let's go, we need to go." But he even starts calling her mother in that moment, and
Yeah.
I guess this may be like symbolism for like postpartum depression or something. I don't know.
Mm.
But like, she like wakes up and she turns around, she's like, "What are you doing here? Go away, I hate you. I never liked you." Like
Yeah, yeah.
she's saying stuff to really hurt him there. But I'm also kind of like, okay, but why? Like, it just came out of
Yeah.
nowhere, right? Because this whole time they've sort of gotten along, sort of, and then now it's like, "Get away from me! I hate you!"
Yeah. It's kinda like, I can kinda see that, like, she's trying to, like, just push away because he isn't supposed to be there. She's trying to just, like, get him I think that's what the way I interpret it anyway. But it's also like, wait, why is this a thing? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, she's come over here, but, like, why? I do get you mean. It's like, is there a reason for it? Is there a reason why she's come over for this? Uh, I can't really put my finger on it
The only thing I
sometimes.
can gather why she would have gone over there is something about both bloodlines is connected to that other world
Mhm. Yeah.
because, like, he meets his mum, but he doesn't know because she's like
Mm.
a younger version from like the past. Because
Yes,
Himi,
yeah.
that version of Himi is his mum. You don't find out until much later, but like she's like younger now, so
Mhm.
she's from much earlier in the timeline, and then Natsuko is her sister, younger sister,
Mhm.
but from the present day. But they know, and there's a whole thing about Mahito's bloodline can see that the handles to these doors that open up
Yeah.
and connect the worlds. That's another thing that I'm just kind of like, okay, you're supposed to suspend your disbelief for both of these things, but it's just like, okay, but why?
Yeah. Because the grand uncle, I guess, is the one that's kinda started and, like, it's the bloodline stuff, like, I just remember, like, the intro is like, yeah, he just went from crazy from reading too many books. You're like, that was like one of the lines that I was like, "Is that a thing? Read too many books, you go crazy?"
I mean, depends on the
Obvious
kind of books, but
too much manga, cultured boy's crazy now. If we create this, can we create our own little world where it's just
No,
like
see, like we're different. If we were reading more of those non-fictions and like learning too much, yeah, we'd probably go crazy. We're crazy because
oh,
we've
no,
read too much like weeb stuff.
yeah, imagine recreate Weeb World. Can't wait.
What's an
Cultured boys, Boy and the Herons. Weeb World.
what a real shit like theme park. Welcome to Weave World. I
Oh my
imagine
days.
carnival music when you walk in as well. It's like a really crap parody of Jurassic Park. Welcome
Well,
to We World.
but it is you know like there's this shit version of Jurassic Park where it's just played on like a recorder, like a really bad.
Oh my god, it's
It's
carnival
all out of
music played
tune.
on recorders.
It just goes off so many times. People's like, "Oh, why the fuck am I here?" Which is arguably what like the whole.
That's perfect for We World. Why am I here?
Why? No one needs this. No one needs this in this thing. Um, but I guess like I guess going back to the topic at hand, it's one of those where like the whole thing with Boy and the Heron is that I feel like as a selling point for Ghibli, it is here's this fantastical world. They always do it like hey, here's this
Yeah,
fantastical world. And that's what their selling
it's all
point
on
is.
theme. Yeah,
Yeah. You know for a fact that, like, people will love it because of the theme, because of the art, because of all this. But I feel like in terms of reviews though, and, like, even when I talked to some people that saw it, they were very much like, "Yeah, it's okay." Like, a
yeah,
lot of people are saying, "Yeah, it's just an okay film." Like, I think that's where the story bit is because we've already said we love the fucking art style of it. We love everything like the voice acting, everything about it. Look, it looks really cool, and the whole world is so nice. But where it lacks, and or like where you're like kind of like, wait, why is it's the story, which is a bit
yeah.
like,
The
okay,
narrative
yeah,
is like all right, I guess. It's definitely far from its strongest point. There are some Ghibli films that are like that, where it's like
hmm
the narrative is like, yeah, it's okay, like it's
yeah.
fine.
There's definitely like absolute bangers when it comes to Ghibli films, and there are some where
Yeah.
you're just like, okay,
Like, yeah, I can't imagine going out on this though. Where like
yeah.
m- obviously he Miyazaki keeps coming back. This is probably like God knows how many times he's been like, this is it. After this film, retiring. This is my last film.
Yeah.
Right. Who knows how many more he'll do?
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I'm kind of like, is this is this the one you to go out on? I don't think so. Me personally, like,
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, what other films? Because I think it was, like, 10 years ago when it was The Wind Rises, weren't it? And that was supposed to be hit that was a really good one, I really like that one. But then yeah, well, it's been well, I'm on the Wikipedia now, right? And it's best source. And literally it has been
oh, man.
10 years, and that's, like, what he's got down here. It was The Wind Rises in 2013, and the next film is The Boy and the Heron.
Yeah, well, again, because he says it's my last film. He works real hard on it, and
Mhm,
then he's like, right, retired now, and then all of
mhm.
a sudden he'll like sit around and get inspiration and be like, I'm back for one more film
Yeah.
because this one I could not let this idea stew. I need this film
Yeah.
will be my last.
I ain't fucking leaving. I ain't fucking leaving. But, like, that's one thing because I remember, like, last year, it was like, "Oh my god, everyone's gotta watch this," and it's like yeah, it's it's one of those things that when you hype it up in your head a little bit, which I think is what I've done a little bit as well, is that uh I kind of expected a bit more from it. I think that's what it is. I think I was like kind of expecting a little bit more, and it
Yeah.
delivers in all the points you kind of want it to, apart from the story.
Mm.
Like I think like I still think like the art direction is great.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I will keep going on about the art direction, and all the like the world and all those kind of thing. I still think all of that looks so cool. But I like yeah, it's like you said. I think the story just feels a bit.
The thing is, I think it really is the Miyazaki's reputation precedes
Mm-hmm,
him. Like it is you hear he's the one directing, and then you think of all the other films he's done. So you're like, oh
mm-hmm,
my god, the master is back, yeah. Like
hmm
he's
Yeah.
doing his magnum opus, like his bestest of works, and it's just kind of like, no, it's good work. It's just would I say it's his, magnum opus, his
No,
one to
it's
retire on? No, I would not. Far from it, to be honest.
yeah, it's like he came back, but like
And
it's like you
like to
said,
your
like is
point
this
of
yeah.
overhyping, like for me personally, I didn't even I saw the trailers last year and was like, yeah, it looks alright, I guess. Like
Oh
maybe I'll
really?
watch
So
that.
you didn't even yeah.
Yeah, even from the trailers, I was like, oh cool, new Ghibli film. But I was also like, from the trailers, I was like, this isn't that it doesn't seem anything that special. Like, like it
Oh,
didn't,
fair.
to me, it wasn't like, oh man, I have to see that film, like it was just kind of like, okay, cool, great.
Ah, okay, fair, fair. I think like I was always a little bit like I really wanted to see it because it's just like if everyone's hyped about new Ghibli film, I'm always like, oh, cool, I want to fucking see new
Well, I
Ghibli
mean,
film.
that's
Yeah.
also kind of what concerned me was because like when I saw the trailer way back when for Wind Rises, I was like, I want to see that film.
Yeah.
I genuinely was like, yo, that looks good. The Boy and the Heron, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, like, yeah, it's Ghibli, so I'll probably end up watching it at some point.
Mm.
But I'm not in. I
Yeah.
wasn't enthralled or anything. Like,
Yeah.
and like to me, seeing it on Netflix, I'm like, yeah, I don't feel ripped off
It
or
wasn't
anything.
something you
Like, if I,
visited. Oh,
yeah,
really?
like,
Yeah.
because it personally, if I'd paid to go see this in the cinema, I might have been like, kind of want a refund.
Oh, really? Yeah, that much. I think it's I put it this way, right? Because again, overhyping in my head a little bit. I did want to see it last year, but it's just because sometimes they really limit these releases as well. Like even though it's a Ghibli film and it's
Yeah.
got a big cast like this, like it's still like, oh, it's only in cinemas for like 2 weeks or something, and it's dipping. Like no one, like they don't keep these things around long. Um, so like none of the dates that I was that I was working with really worked out like it. So it was just like, oh, I'll try and do this,
Fair.
and I was like, oh no, it ain't working. Or it was over Christmas as well, so I freaking had loads of plans over Christmas last year as well. So it was like never had the time at all. Um, and I guess I was kind of bummed that I didn't see it then, but at the same time, I was never going out of my way to try and find it either. I was always like,
Mm,
"Oh, if it comes to something, I'll watch it." And I think this is why when I saw it drop on Netflix, I was like, "Oh, Nathan, we should do this because one, we haven't seen we haven't done a Ghibli film before on these episodes.
yeah.
Two is like, oh, what a one to try out this Miyazaki's back, like it makes sense, and it's uh and I can see why people would be disappointed, but I still think that the whole experience as a whole, I enjoyed it for what it is. I don't think I have any like massive like apart from the story. I think they're being a bit like, oh, I mean, I've watched worse films. You know what I mean? I think like
Oh
none of
yeah,
it
easily
feel.
we've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
much worse.
yeah. I don't think it's like the I don't think I'd be like, "Oh, this is a shit experience." Like, I think, like, as a whole, yeah. I I guess what it comes to is, would I watch this again? Probably not. I'm not keen to go out and buy it on a Blu-ray, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Like, this like, in terms of as I said pretty much right at the start of this episode, as a Ghibli film, it's just bang in the middle for me. It's like, yeah, watch it, but I wouldn't really go out of my way and be like, you watch this. It's like you
Yeah.
can get a much better experience from watching other Ghibli films, I think is what I feel like we're getting at.
I mean, yeah, ultimately this isn't one that I would go out of my way to recommend. But
Mhm.
if people say to like if someone came up and asked me like, "Oh, should I watch it?" I'd be like, "Yeah, watch it just to make your own opinion, like see what you think
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
for all I know somebody else might watch that and be like, "Oh, wow. Wow, that really hit me, that resonated with me and I
Mhm.
fully understood everything." In which case, please explain
Mhm.
cuz I don't get it. I'm
Yeah.
hands up, I just don't get it. But it's not a bad film. Like
Mhm.
overall, the package is good. It's still a Ghibli film, so it's far from the worst. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I say it. This one's a really hard one for me to like process my thoughts because like it's mostly just sitting here like I don't get it. I just don't
Yeah.
understand.
And I think like the closest thing I could say is like it's maybe just a story of grief. Maybe that is just it. Maybe, but it's also like you said, like, is there more to it that we're not getting? Is there something like we don't see in it that other people do?
Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't
Maybe
know,
it is
but,
that. Yeah.
parakeets, so that's fun.
Oh, okay, yeah. I do want to say, like, I do want to touch on the parakeets actually because at first I was like, look at these guys, they're like little cute things, and then they turn so sinister. Like they
Yeah.
just become like it's like, yep, cool, eat, eat, eat. And like I know the pelicans at the start were like, yeah, we want to eat, we want to eat, we want to eat. And then it was they disappeared quite quickly. That was like, yeah, whatever,
Yeah.
that's whatever. But the parakeets were consistently looking derpy as hell. Like, ah, look at these funny little creatures. And they're like, yeah, we want to just eat people. Like, and it was like, ah, okay. These are straight up terrifying.
I think my favorite one is, yeah, Mahito wakes up in the kitchen, like, and he's
Yeah.
chained up, and then there's
Yeah.
that one that's, like, sharpening a knife, and it's that one shot of it turning around, like, tongue out, like, looking at him all cheeky, like, "Imma eat
Yeah.
you."
Yeah. It's like, hey, what up?
Like, that one, I was like, "That's my favorite one."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, it is. It is just like, yeah, it's like all of it's just such bird culture as well. You know what I mean? Every single
Mm.
moment about this is like bird culture, and
Well, I
like
mean, what is
even
a
like
heron, a all
the
the
yeah,
pelicans, parakeets, like, this is all
and
birds.
in typical bird fashion, there's shit everywhere as well. Like, especially like every time one of the birds appears in the real world, it's just yeah, there's shit on the windowsill.
Yep,
They shit all over people.
yep.
Like even when his dad turns out to be, oh, I've come to rescue you, and
Yeah.
it's like ah, the parakeets are everywhere. And he's like, he's just covered
Oh,
in
that was
shit, and it's
okay,
like,
that was also a funny line to hear.
yeah,
He so, he sees Mahito, and then all of the parakeets turn into
mhm.
normal parakeets,
Yeah, yeah.
and then Shoichi, or Christian Bale's character, just turns around and is like, "Mahito turned into a parakeet!
Yeah, he's just straight
Mahito's a budgie!" And I'm like, What do you mean? Why?"
Yeah. Out of everything that you jumped towards, it was like that's your conclusion here? Like I feel like like you were saying, yeah, suspend your disbelief in some certain bits. Like, yeah, that guy, no, he's like, everything's good. Like he just
Yeah.
went straight to the parakeet, my son's a parakeet. Like, that's
I
his
think the
first
only
conclusion of that, yeah.
the only way that would have been funnier is if, like, closer to the end of the film, you just see him with just a cage of these birds looking
Yeah.
and being like, "Mahito, Mahito."
Mahito, is this you? Mahito.
You know what I mean? Like, because he's just, like, believes so much, but I was just like,
Yeah,
"That's so funny."
yeah,
Because, like, that's supposed to be a pretty, like, serious part as well, but, like, it
yeah.
was just so funny that he's like, "My son turned into a parrot. Oh my god."
Just speaking on more bird stuff, it's the grey heron I want to speak on this a little bit as well because as a
Yeah.
character, it is a cool. But when you first see it talk, it's like, oh, okay, it's being creepy. That's fine. Oh, it's a bit creepy. And then it's that moment where it starts getting teeth, and I'm like, oh, okay, no, that's next level weird. Like
Well,
bird with teeth.
it's
I don't
the
like bird with
the
teeth.
teeth, and then, like, when the human nose starts
Yeah.
coming out as well, you're like, "Ugh.
Yeah, it was just like,
Ah."
yeah. And, like, all of it is just so off-putting as a design, and I mean, arguably, is like, again, when I say off-putting as a design, it just feels unnatural, and that's what makes it kinda, again, it as art, yeah, it's there, it works, it looks nice, like, they did it it's not like it's, let's say, like, Dragon Ball Super 2015 episode 3 or whatever the fuck it is, let's say it that way. Everything looks nice still, it's just the design of it, the like,
Yeah.
I just think a bird with teeth ain't it. Like, I think that's what, like, that's all I'd see in my
Well,
nightmares,
it's
bro.
worse because it's
Bird with teeth.
human teeth, like,
Yes, yeah.
that's the uncanny valley part of it. It's that it's like
Yes, yeah.
it's the bird with
Human.
human teeth. It's not just like, "Oh, it's got like sharp teeth. No, it's just got a human set of teeth. You're like, ugh,
Yeah, it's like
gross.
and
Ugh.
then there's Robert Pattinson doing that voice where it's like, and it's like,
Mahito,
yeah,
Mahito, your presence is
mother,
required.
mother, mother. And it's like, oh, it's been creepy as hell.
God, that voice. I don't. I wonder what inspired him. Like, or like the voice directors be like, you do good work, but I want you to do this
You know, like,
specifically.
I tell you what is like, it's always so mad with these like kind of things. It's like it gives me the same vibe as Benedict Cumberbatch doing Smaug from The Hobbit. I don't know if you've ever seen it before.
I haven't.
So there's just this one video online, obviously because The Hobbit, like loads of special effects, basically. Not only did they
Yeah.
get Benedict Cumberbatch to do the voice of the dragon, which is like obviously, yeah, great. They got him to do the actions as well. So he's in one of
Oh,
those
he did the
suits.
mocap.
So he's like there, like crawling along on like all
Oh.
fours, like doing like this voice, and it's like, what the fuck? He's gone into this, and that's what I can imagine with Robert Pattinson. I kind of just want to see Robert Pattinson doing recording these things just to see what the fuck it just
Footage
looks.
of him just like flapping his arms around and being creepy in the VO booth.
Yeah, I want to see it, bro. Because like, arguably, like this is one thing is I know, like we said, like right at the start, oh, Robert Pattinson, Twilight, and then he goes into all these other films. But like, he's gone up in my estimations as an actor in general, man. Like over the years, you think,
Some
yeah,
like Pro ZD, for example, is like voice acting is just acting, but people can't see you.
hmm
And like, you know, when you hear this voice, you like it conjures up a person who's like scrunched themselves up a whole lot
yeah,
and is like real hunchback.
yeah,
So I'm like, could you imagine someone like Robin Pattinson, right? That's
hmm
quite a handsome man, just like scrunching
yeah,
himself up in the VO
yeah.
booth. Just be like, ah!
There is like, so the only time I think I might be able to see this kind of thing, probably there's probably a video on the internet somewhere. But Netflix also has a documentary out about Hayao Miyazaki. And I was like, oh, I might watch it. And then I saw this Instagram reel yesterday where apparently the first thing you see, again, this is alleged. This is what I've heard from the
Mhm.
Instagram reel. And it sounds like people are like, yeah, this is true. So, but I think one of the first things you see is Hayao Miyazaki butt naked getting into a bath.
Why would I want to see that?
I don't know. I like, people like can say, is it like I will know, is that true or is it not? I could watch it for myself, but arguably, they're like they did it in the form of a sketch. So it was like, hey, we're gonna make this film about Hayao Miyazaki. What do we do for the I know, let's let's have him butt naked, his junk's pixelated, just getting into a bath. And you're like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. Let's do that. And I'm like, wait, what? That's an actual thing. I had to check the comments to make sure that was an actual thing. And everyone's like, yep, yep, that happened, that happened. I'm like, what? That's
Okay, sure.
yeah.
Whatever.
So that's what we want to
Fucking
see. Yeah.
that is that is not something I ever would have thought would I'd hear ever in my life. There you
Imagine
go.
like you think, oh, I want to know more about Miyazaki's life, like because
Hayao
everything you hear about him
Miyazaki
is like,
butt naked getting into a bathtub. If you had that on your bingo card, congratulations.
happy 2024. It's also like, you know, everything I know about the Miyazaki is, you know, that meme where
Mhm.
I can't remember what he says, like like it's everything is depressing and stuff like that. Like it's but there's a series of quotes from Miyazaki which I found absolutely hilarious. I just had to type in Hayao Miyazaki quotes in Google Images. First one that comes up, most of our world is rubbish. Next one, I don't ever feel happy in my daily life. Next one, filmmaking only brings suffering. Next one, life is suffering. It is hard. The world is cursed, but still you find reasons. Oh, that one's quite wholesome. You still find reasons to keep living. Is the end of that quote. But and this last one, I'm sleepy. Time for a nap.
You know, on that note, We should take his advice. I am sleepy.
Yeah.
Time for a nap.
It's time for a nap. I want that. Nathan, I'm putting in a picture of Chris now. I want that. I want that to be like right now in this episode. That picture's gonna be there, and as Nathan said, I think we're gonna end it on that. We've given our thoughts on Boy and the Heron. I think the last 10 minutes is just absolute shit talking, but that is our thoughts on Boy and the Heron. Do let us know what you thought of the film. If you saw it in a different light than we did, we'd love to hear like what you guys think about it, clear, because we might not be getting it. Maybe there's something that we're missing. If we've missed it, you know it, let us know. But thank you for listening, guys. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell button for future Culture Boys videos. Check the links in our description for podcasts. Yep, they're there. And we will see you guys next time for another Cultured Boys episode. Bye bye.
Bye.